So what's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph. Now, a couple of months ago, we made a video comparing the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid with the Toyota Fortuner G variant. And a lot of people are asking for an update on that particular Comparo. Well, this time around, we've got two of Toyota's best SUVs, the Toyota Fortuner GRS 4x4 and the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. It's the LTD variant, which means it's the top of the line variant. Both similarly priced, but with two different philosophies. We're gonna figure out if any of these two vehicles have what it takes to take each other on, and if the RAV4 Hybrid has what it takes as well to take on the king of the hill, which is the Toyota Fortuner. We're being joined today by my good friend Kevin Francisco of the Modern Creatures, and today we're gonna drive all the way to Clark, Pampanga. But this time around, we're gonna be mixing up a bit. Traffic is back with a vengeance, and we're gonna drive through all that just for you guys. So before we head out on our trip, we topped up both of the Fortuner and the RAV4. This, by the way, is a 4x4 vehicle, but we won't be using 4x4 mode. And this here is a front-wheel drive vehicle.
So we're off in this Comparo. I am driving the Toyota Fortuner GRS 4x4. This has a 2.8 liter turbocharged diesel engine that makes 204 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque.
And I'm driving the RAV4 Hybrid LTD, which outputs 178 horses and 221 newton meters of torque. And we're looking forward to putting those numbers to the test.
So right now we're just stuck in a little bit of regular traffic. We're just here to check out our fuel consumption. And surprisingly, the Toyota Fortuner is actually doing quite admirable. Right now I'm doing 9.7 kilometers per liter in traffic, which is odd. I've probably learned how to drive more economically after all those media drives. But yes, I'm doing 9.7 kilometers per liter and I'm happy about it. Kevin, how is your fuel consumption as of right now?
Yo, when you started talking, I was at 18.2, but since then I am now, but now I am at 20.1, man.
Damn it! And I thought it was being economical. But hey, 9.8 kilometers per liter in the city is nothing to sneeze about. But 21 kilometers per liter? That's crazy. All right, so let's talk about the interior of both the RAV4 Hybrid and the Toyota Fortuner GRS. First of all, my impressions about the Fortuner GRS's interior is that it really wants to remind you that it is a sportier variant than the usual GRSs. But Kevin, tell me how the RAV4 Hybrid works for you.
Okay, so a little bit of background. I'm the kind of person who goes out and gets his bike, puts his bike on the vehicle to go biking around. So I like that rugged lifestyle, and it was the exact same reason. That's why we had the first gen 98 model of RAV4. So it looks very rugged, it looks very utilitarian, and that's what I like about it. So for me, it feeds that adventurous, rugged kind of people. It's like it's meant for those kinds of users, for those kinds of drivers.
So Kevin, which would you choose between the two?
Although I really appreciate the red stitchings, the red markings on the Fortuner, I would still stick with the interior of RAV4 simply because it's like a shoe-in for my personality.
Definitely is, and I think I would give my vote to the RAV4 as well in this regard. So yes, for interior features and amenities, the RAV4 gets this vote.
What do you do for a living?
Alright, so right now we're here at the Shell Balagtas station. We're gonna do a quick rest stop, grab something to eat, and then we're gonna head back out on the highway. Now we're gonna do a quick switch right here. I used to drive the Toyota Fortuner, and I'm gonna go to the RAV4 and vice versa. Yeah. So Kevin, what expectations do you have before you get a Fortuner?
Well, since I came from this smooth sailing vehicle right here, I'm expecting a lot more grunt and a lot more power when it comes to this vehicle. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Right, and I myself, since I come from a car that basically has 500 newton meters of torque, into what is basically a soft-roader. I expect something smoother, something more fuel efficient than what this is. Alright, so enough of this. Let's just grab some weed. Alright, so coming back from our stopover at Shell, we're now on our way, and I'm behind the wheel of the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid LTD. Now right off the bat, this definitely has lower horsepower and torque figures, but keep in mind that this is mated to an electric motor. So whatever's written on paper, it definitely feels much faster than that in real life. It definitely feels more sprightly, more car-like than the Toyota Fortuner back there. It's not stiff, it's just right. Definitely very comfortable inside the RAV4. But Kevin, tell me how you doing back there in the Fortuner?
The first thing that I noticed is that, of course, you're seated higher up. You can see your surroundings better than on the RAV4, of course. And also, since we're talking about a diesel engine here underneath the hood, there's that obvious difference that you can hear the engine produce more sound, produce more grunt, and you can also feel that the vehicle is heavier compared to the RAV4.
Now, the Toyota Fortuner, being a GRS variant, also has some mechanical upgrades to it. So apart from the traditional suspension it has with the vanilla Fortuner, it also has these upgraded KYB monotube shocks underneath on all four wheels. So do you think those shocks makes any much of a difference with the drive?
Yes, definitely. My family had the first gen Fortuner, and I could really see the difference driving this now and riding with my family, because that vehicle specifically was kind of on the bumpy side of things. But with this new GRS Fortuner, you can feel the difference. It's just smoother on the road. It still has a bit of those vibrations, of course, but it's definitely a good improvement.
You were talking about vibrations. I can feel none of that right here in the RAV4. The difference between that Fortuner and this car right here is really night and day. And I can say I'm really enjoying myself behind this. By the way, the RAV4 also has 3 drive modes. You have Eco, Normal, and Sport. You know us, we go ahead and hit Sport mode. But does the Fortuner also have those different drive modes?
Of course, we have those too. We have Eco, Normal, and Sport. So if you decide that you wanna, pick things up a bit, just let me know and we can both switch to Sport mode, man.
Let's go, Sport mode all the way. Let's go. Drive-wise though, when it comes to engine power, pull, real-life engine power, suspension, steering, which would you prefer between the RAV4 and the Fortuner now that we've switched?
It's kind of hard to answer it in just one answer because they both provide the same comfortable experience. Although, of course, the RAV4 for me, and I'm sure you get that when I said smooth sailing, I'm sure you're experiencing it right now, right? So for me, if you're gunning for an efficient everyday vehicle, I would go for the RAV4, but if you're maybe going on an out-of-town trip with your family or friends, the Fortuner is definitely right up your alley. It just offers space and at the same time power, and that's what you want if you're going on long road trips.
I think the RAV4 is better suited for city driving or soft-roading. You definitely don't have the same type of confidence that you can get out of a full-size, or should I say a mid-sized SUV like that from a crossover. But I'm telling you, if you let me choose between the RAV4 and the Fortuner for daily driving, I definitely pick the RAV4 in this one. So how do we call this? Do you put your vote to the RAV4 or the Fortuner?
For me, I would still pick the RAV4 just for the reason that it's very smooth.
I go for the RAV4 as well in terms of drive. It might not be as powerful, it doesn't offer the same brute performance as the GRS, but because of the hybrid engine, no matter what's on paper, in real life it's definitely sprightly, it's definitely sporty, it can be quite sporty and economical as well, and it's really comfortable inside. So right now it's 2 points for the RAV4 and no points yet for the Fortuner. So do you think the Fortuner can catch up? Let's find out later.
I'm sure it can.
So after my time with the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, I can definitely see what you mean, that it's a much more smoother drive.
Yeah, it's just...
I can definitely see myself dailying this car other than the Toyota Fortuner.
It feels kind of like you're gliding through the road, right?
Right, but what did you feel while you're driving this on the highway?
Well, for this one, you definitely feel the bulk of it. And apart from that, the steering it requires a bit more effort to turn, especially when you're coming from stopping, right? So there's that, but also it gives you confidence that you don't worry about small potholes and all that. So it gives you confidence, definitely, but the smooth thing, it's the RAV4 for me.
Right, so we're gonna put this down to another vote. Since we're both comparing two SUVs, we're gonna give this the ruggedness or the SUV score.
Yep.
Which of these two vehicles is more SUV than the other one? But this time around, I'd give my vote, of course, to the Toyota Fortuner. I understand why people are looking for this type of vehicle and looking for this model exactly. It's because it gives them more confidence. And for other people who are more adventurous and they want to go down the beaten path, the Fortuner is definitely the way to go. What do you think?
I agree.
I agree. That's it. That's all. That's definitely all we can say. The Fortuner bests everything about the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid when it comes to overall ruggedness, being adventurous and all that. So let's take this out for another spin and we'll be talking more about it later on. All right, so this time around we're going to talk about the safety features of the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid and the Toyota Fortuner GRS. Well, they're basically the same. Both of these vehicles have Toyota's Safety Sense. So Toyota Safety Sense is a suite of active and passive safety features, and I'm just glad that Toyota is able to give these vehicles both Safety Sense, and I believe that they are on track to give all their other models the same safety features. So for this round, we're gonna give the score to both the Toyota Fortuner GRS and the RAV4 Hybrid. Both of them get a point. So right now the score is 3-2. Yeah!
Finally, man, we made it.
That's a hell of a
Clark.
ride.
Nice one. That was a fun drive, dude.
That was a fun but kind of tiring drive. But
Lots of traffic.
this is the perfect place for us to appreciate the look of both the Toyota Fortuner and the Toyota RAV4. And now you understand why the Fortuner is actually one of the best-selling vehicles out there, don't you think?
Yep, definitely. And for the design, what did you like about design? I want to ask you first.
All right.
Because you've been driving this and then we switched and you started driving that. So at the beginning, I was looking at you from the rear mirror and I've been seeing this and I can see how kind of very intimidating from behind me.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying because while I was driving the Fortuner and looking at the RAV4 in the rear view mirror, although it's smaller than the Fortuner, it still looks very aggressive. It looks very
Definitely.
menacing,
Yep.
especially with these LED DRLs. And then at night, during the early morning, we had the headlamps on. It just looks unique. It
especially
looks sporty.
especially this upswept styling right here. Very
The
aggressive.
styling, it's full of angles, screams sporty without having to have those red calipers right here in the Fortuner. And I really love how sleek the entire RAV4 looks. This one really looks bulky, especially with those step boards right there, the two-tone look. This one just has that black roof in order to, of course, hide the panoramic sunroof up top. Because there are a few things here in the back that I want to show you that make the RAV4 a lot sportier than it actually is. Because check this out, you got dual port exhaust at the bottom. Those are legit dual port exhaust, even if it's a hybrid.
I have a quick question for you, if I may just cut you there. How do you feel about the glossy black panels of the Fortuner?
The glossy black panels around the Fortuner seem to be out of place because of the white color, probably. I don't especially like the glossy black on the grille there around the headlamps. Kind of look like eyebrows there. But I think it's in fashion because of Kendall Jenner, but not on the Fortuner.
Yeah, I guess they try to blend it with the red against black.
Right.
It kind of works, but not my cup of tea. Maybe for some.
Maybe for some. The wing on top of the Fortuner GRS definitely just, it's like an icing on the cake. It really wants to be as sporty as it can. There may be a few misses because of those glossy black trims, but overall, I like how it looks. So let's give it a vote.
Same.
Which of these two vehicles do you like most, especially in the exterior?
I love how it attempted to be sporty and it pushed through, it delivered. But combining the elements, because I just want to quickly show you the side, you know, the lines you see there. it's not just the straight line you see from most vehicles today. It starts from behind the headlamps and it goes up. It climbs up to the rear taillight. Right. So when you look at it, it has that aggressive stance.
It really has some sort of subtle, distinct character lines.
Yes,
also,
exactly.
Almost arrow-like that flows from the front fender all the way to the rear. And we gotta admit, this body type of the Toyota Fortuner is getting a little bit long in the tooth. And we've all seen this before. It may have been revolutionary when it first came out. Don't get me wrong, it still looks great, but this looks a little bit more premium, a little bit more sophisticated for the money.
And fresh for me, at least.
Right. All right, so we're gonna give this vote. I think this is unanimous. We're gonna give it to the RAV4. The score is now 4-2. So before we wrap things up, let's talk about the price. The reason why we compare these two vehicles is that they're priced almost similarly, hovering around 2.6 million pesos. So 2.6 million pesos, if you had 2.6 million pesos with you right now, which do you think offers more bang for the buck between these two cars?
For me, it depends on where you want to go in the future. If you want to really transition to electric vehicles, then a hybrid is definitely something that you'd want to check out. And this, the RAV4, is a really strong contender in that aspect. I would dip my toes to hybrid vehicles, and this is like definitely up there.
I get your point exactly, but for 2.6 million pesos, you'd really expect more, and that's what the Fortuner offers. In this, guys, itself, you got 4-wheel drive, you got 7 seats, it's a diesel engine. But again, like you mentioned, this is more future-proof than the Toyota Fortuner, apart from the fact that the Fortuner has been with us for quite a while now. Despite all the additions, I think 2.6 million pesos might be a huge ask. But if you want to future-proof yourself, put in the fuel economy figure there. It's a no-brainer. The RAV4 wins in this case. Again, for a disclaimer, we're not dissing the Fortuner. It is a great SUV.
It's not gonna be one of like the legendary vehicles, especially here in the Philippines, if it doesn't perform, right? So there's still a market for that.
There is a reason why the Fortuner is a best-selling vehicle. In fact, the best-selling SUV. I'm just saying, guys, if you're in the market for a Toyota Fortuner in any variant, you might want to take a look at the RAV4. It's not as it was before, and you might be pleasantly surprised as if you look at it.
I think every customer has their specific needs, depending on where they work or how they do their daily activities. Not every customer needs the exact same vehicle, right? So if you're having a growing family, or if you like going out of town with friends, the Fortuner will definitely get you there. And it has the space. It has the space, it has the power. So definitely Fortuner for that. But for the RAV4, what kind of customer maybe would like to get it?
I think the RAV4 would be a better daily driver, especially someone who's looking for a more modern SUV with a hybrid drivetrain underneath that hood. You've got 5 seats. You don't need 7. There are some people out there who don't need 7 seats. There are some people out there who might be iffy about that diesel clatter and would like to experience the great fuel economy that the RAV4 can provide. And I think the RAV4, even though it can't seat 7, even though it can't go off-roading, it's a much better daily. And if you want to consider having the Fortuner for that particular purpose, I think you might want to consider the RAV4.
So basically, our score was just for us and how we prefer our vehicles.
Yeah, that's right. So make sure that you check out the different chapters of this video to check out the pros and cons of each, the Toyota Fortuner and the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, and then you can figure that out. But for right now...
And also if they agree with us, right? With our scoring.
Exactly. You cannot go wrong with either of these cars. So no worries. Thanks so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. There's going to be a lot more of these comparos as the year goes by. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Also, check out the Modern Creatures on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and tell us, tell them that we sent you so that they know exactly where you came from, Zigwheels.Ph. So,
thanks for having me, man.
No problem,
Thanks
man. Thanks so much. All right, this is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph.
And I'm Kevin from the Modern Creatures.
And we'll see you guys next time.